All right. Here today, I want to talk about a couple of things, and I don't know. Maybe I'll. Yeah, I think it's just gonna be one video. I want to talk about chisel balance points. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. It matters to me. This is my experience. You know, I'm going to talk about some other things with chisels of how I like them, and you know, hopefully things will work and it'll be easy for you to understand. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's one of my favorite chisels, and you can see where the balance point is. Okay, this is a Barr 1/4 inch chisels. These are amazing. Look, I really like them, but he doesn't make them anymore. Allegedly he will. He'll put you on special order, but I sent a message to their website asking if I could get them to make me some filler chisels when they be part on the list, and they never replied. So I don't know. I think he doesn't want to do them, and maybe won't make them anymore. So I really like these. They're my favorite chisels of all the chisels I've ever owned, but I only got 4, and that's maybe it, because I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna pay those crazy collector prices. I'm not gonna do that. Here's the 1 inch one. I just have the set of 4. You know, you can see, let's see, you put those two together. See, they're different. I mean, they are different. What I like about these is heft. I like heft. You know, that's my thing with chisels, is heft. Except for paring, you know, for paring, you know, or for paring, I mean, and here's a Veritas chisel, and this is a 3/8, so it's not quite like the 1/4. Here's another 3/8. This is, and I'm going to talk about this one too, where I just got it and what's good about it and what's not. Or maybe I'll make another video about it. That's about right there. And the Veritas, I don't know if this is right. I've had this one for a while, and it's very dainty. I don't know. This dainty Veritas chisel is not really my thing, and you know. But if you like them, they're fine. They're fine. They're good chisels. So let's see. It's right there at that joint. Okay. So these are pretty close to the same balance. They're both 3/8. Okay. So when I bought this one from a Ukrainian seller, they actually, the regular retail is pretty high, but they had them on a big sale, and so I bought a couple to see about filling out my Barr set with them. I don't know, they look better in pictures. I mean, they're still attractive chisels. I really like the look. I like the handle, but they're not worth whatever the retail price is. You know, $50 to $100 or whatever they are a piece. But they do put them on extreme sales, like 50, 60, 70% off. So. And even this is on Etsy, these Ukrainian sellers, okay? And they're, as far as I know, they're made in Ukraine, and then there's some differences in appearances, but they all look like they're coming out of the same shop. So, and they're made out of I think they're made out of a steel that's maybe worth a look. You know, order one and see if you like it or whatever. I'll talk more about that one later. So the Veritas is not really my thing. I think I'm going to sell it because it's the only one I have. I just bought it to check it out. And here's the 1 inch Barr, which is really heavy, really hefty, as opposed to the 1 1/4 inch, a 32 millimeter. It was sold as Ukrainian chisel that I got to fill it, and you can see the difference in thicknesses. You can see how much heftier the Barr is, but the balance at the point is still pretty close to the same. All right, it's still pretty close. All right. So, I mean, these Barrs, I really feel nice. You know, I really like that. I like that. That's great. Here's a Japanese one compared to, let's go with the Japanese compared to, let's go against the Japanese compared to the venerable, this is old Marples from the 90s, my first decent chisels, other than just like junk that my dad had around. And you can see where we are with the Japanese chisel, but also notice how much shorter the handle is. So these Japanese chisels, they put your hands really close to the work, which is good for some things. You could choke up on them like that if you want to. And Christian Bexford, I think he used Japanese chisels, fine Japanese chisels for, I don't know, decades, a long time. And he really liked them. And look at this about Japanese chisels. I don't know if you knew this. You see how it's flat? You can kind of pair with them. See how it's almost flat? You see it's at an angle. You have to get used to that. Western chisels are straight, but these are, they're made so you can kind of pair flat. Even though it has a short blade, it kind of lays flat, or at least it's supposed to. I don't really use it for that because I have Western chisels too. But if you want to pair in with them, like this one, this is like the Marples. They have that decent long cabinet maker's paring chisel thing. You know, if you like that cabinet maker chisel for some stuff. And so for some stuff like chiseling out, you know, like working on doors and stuff, you know, you just want to whack it with a hammer and you're on the road and, you know, you just want a short carpenter's chisel like a regular, I don't know, Stanley or Craftsman or whatever, those beater chisels like those. But for fine woodworking, you want that paring length, right? Usually for trimming and so on. And I like the longer handles. One thing I don't like doing is really using a mallet, but now I finally have a mallet on the bench and I can use one if I need to. I prefer hammers, so that's why I like the rings on the end of my chisels. I just prefer it. See, these two, they don't have rings, so you can't, you know, I don't want to hammer on them because this one's really nice, and I once messed up one of these by hitting it with a hammer. So then I learned, oh, I like the ones with the rings because I like to use a hammer. Because I learned that from Japanese, because, you know, with a hammer, you hit it, you know, it transfers, you know, I like that. Okay, here's a cheapo Amazon, which actually the balance isn't bad, the heft isn't bad, Amazon Basics, but I spent a long time on a Makita grinder, and I think 1200 grit. It took me a long time to flatten the back, so I don't know. I don't know that it was worth the labor of just flattening the back. And the other thing, these Ukrainian chisels, I'm optimistic about it because they are a high carbon steel, not a chrome vanadium like these Marples blue chips, which, you know, they are a little rusty, but they've been sitting around for 30 years. You see, I'm in a dry climate here. I never treat them with oil or anything. They still look all right, you know. It's not so bad here in Southern California with them because I'm not near the beach, you know. But that chrome vanadium that these are made of, I don't like it as well as high carbon steel, right? But like I said, for me, it's not an issue. If you're in an area where humidity is a problem, you might prefer chrome vanadium. So they're good. They're better. Maybe the chrome vanadium is better for like more casual woodworking. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I know there's grades of chrome vanadium and so on, but my thing is high carbon steel. That's what the bars are, and the because I don't really like sharpening, right? And the bars and the Japanese chisels, you can give a pounding, and the edges still hold up pretty good. Any chisel you will stay sharp if you're just paring with it. You know, you're just poking it around with your hand and stuff like that. But I want to pound on them, and I want that edge to hold up because I don't want to spend my time sharpening. I just don't. You know, so you can keep your paring chisels real sharp. And if you got another set you pound on, that's the one I'd want to be. You know, that good high carbon steel. That to me that would be important. But the paring chisels, you know, the nicer chrome vanadium and so on, it stays nicer looking if you're in a humid area. Here's the where's the Ukrainian one again? I kind of like the way that they left a scale on the back of this one, but you could clean it off if you want. See the scale right there? You know, I like the look. I just kind of reminded me of the handmade Barr look and the Japanese chisel look, and so on. But they share marks. They show marks of yeah, I don't know. They just sanded that off rather than leaving it a little proud, so you could do it the way you want. Because I like to do it. I like to do a Japanese style where you cut it off to within, I don't know, a millimeter and a half or 2 millimeters, and then you wet it, you get it wet, and maybe use an iron. I haven't done it in a long time, so I don't remember exactly. Get it wet, and then you hammer the grain around so it mushrooms over that hoop and keeps the hoop on there. And I like that. That's what I like because it fits in your hand nicely. It's rounded, and you can sand it later if you want to. It's just the way they did it, man. It's the right way to do it, so the hoop doesn't come off. Because the handle, it changes dimensions with the seasons, right? So that's my thing. And also, if you leave them long, you'd see these old mortising chisels and stuff that even though they had a hoop, they've been hit hard, you know, and they just get ugly looking and nasty looking because they didn't trim them off like the Japanese style that keeps them nice looking with the hoop on them. So that's my preference. I don't want to, you know. But when I made a video showing how to mushroom the bars, somebody tried to chew me out for destroying that beautiful chisel and so on. I mean, I want to make it work the way I want. I'm not a collector, I'm a user, you know, so it's crazy to me. But that's the way some people are. Let's see. I'm not going to show you other chisels, but so that's a combination of my thoughts on the Ukrainian chisels. Get them on sale, and the Barr chisels, the superiority of them. I'm optimistic about the steel of these Ukrainian chisels, though. So we'll see how those hold up. And the Ukrainian chisels, unfortunately, they're going to need a lot of flattening. I don't know if you can see that. I saw the reviews. People said they come super sharp. Won't take the hair off my arm. It's not bad. You could use it, but it won't take the hair off your arm. And a lot of chisels come that sharp, and these don't. So it's not a big deal. It just needs a little honing that way. But what it really needs is it needs some flattening. And I don't like doing that. You know, if I paid $70 or whatever this this one was supposed to be 79 bucks or whatever it is at full price. I wouldn't want to mess around with flattening. I might even send it back if it was out of flat as this is. And, I don't know, maybe I'm being mean, but yeah, I think that's yeah. I don't really consider that acceptable if for retail, because these bars came flat and they're like $100 a piece, right? Or if you can even get them, but you know, when they were sold. And this one is similar. Now this is the Veritas. It's not perfect actually either. I guess I haven't prepared it at all. This is the other Ukrainian chisel that I think is even worse than the 32 millimeter chisel. It depends on how far you back. Maybe it's better up here, but when you get up here, then that's a big dish. So maybe this one will be easier. We'll see. So those are my thoughts on chisels.